Hi, I'm Ryan from Two Bears. Today, I'm going to be showing you how to make the perfect pour-over. Now you're going to need a few things. I've got my gooseneck kettle here. Now you can use a regular kettle if that's what you have at home. I find the gooseneck to be quite a bit more precise in terms of when we're pouring our water. You're going to need a kitchen scale because you want to keep any variables as consistent as you can when making a pour-over. I've got my V60, I've got my carafe, I've got my V60 filter, and I've got 23 grams of Two Bears coffee. Okay, let's get started. So the first thing we need to do is wet our coffee filter. Now, the reason for this is because we want less resistance when our coffee starts to brew, as well as it eliminates any possibility for there to be a papery taste to the coffee when it's finished. So I'm going to take my V60 filter and put it in my V60 brewer. Then I'm going to take my kettle and just slowly move around the outside here. Now you don't have to worry about getting all the way to the top because that water will travel up and wet the corners of the filter. Okay, so I've got my coffee ground, 22 grams. So I started with 23 grams, but I knew I was going to lose a little bit in the grinder. So we've got 22 grams of ground coffee, ground to about the coarseness of sea salt. So I'm going to put my V60 on here. We're going to tare the scale to 0. And just put my coffee in here and make sure I get to exactly 22 grams. We don't need the rest. Okay, so our first step here is going to be called the bloom. This is where we let the coffee start to extract a little bit, but we don't add so much water weight that it's actually going to come through into the carafe yet. We want to watch it actually sort of bloom upward. So I'm going to take our kettle and we're going to do exactly 60 grams in a small tight circle on top of the grinds here. Here we go, and 60. Beautiful. Now, our bloom is finished and we're ready to start our second pour. Now you may be wondering why I'm being so particular about the weights. Why 60 grams of water on the bloom? Why 22 grams of coffee going in? The reason being we want an extraction of 16 to 1. So we want 16 parts water to 1 part coffee. So if we keep these measurements and these numbers the same, we're going to hit exactly that. So here we go. We're going to do another 90 grams of water going up to 150 grams total. Okay, we're ready to do our third pour, which is just going to be very similar to the second pour, except we are putting another 100 grams of water in here. So we are going to get up to 250. So we are just going to wait for another 30-45 seconds, and then we can do our final pour of this beautiful pour over. And we are ready to do our final pour here, which is going to be the final 100 grams of water I'm adding to this, which is going to bring us up to 350. Now, if you do the math, 350 divided by 22, you've got your 16 to 1 ratio. So, our water's ready, our kettle's ready. Let's do this last 100 grams. Finally, moving around the outside, slowly in toward the center, making sure everything has been wet. And we are there. So we've made our perfect pour over. Now the coffee I used was the Two Bears Columbia Pillamew, but of course you could use any of these with the same ratio, 16 to 1. And I think it's about time to try that coffee we made.